Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. In previous two modules, we have learnt about the application of bioremediation technology for the cleaning of organic compounds contaminated sites and pesticide contaminated sites. Now in this module, we will learn about the application of bioremediation technology for the cleaning of heavy metal contaminated sites, or we can say that how bioremediation approaches can be used for the cleaning of heavy metals from the environment. The learning objectives of this module are to understand harmful impacts of heavy metals, to gain knowledge on different bioremediation strategies which are adopted for heavy metals, and to understand the mechanism and tolerance of bioremediation. We know that heavy metals are inorganic elements, and heavy metals are those elements whose density is more than 5 gram per cc. So, industrialization and urbanization have led to enormous applications of heavy metal. There are a number of processes where these heavy metals are used. The processing and disposal of products having heavy metals release these heavy metals and ions into soil and water environment. This not only degrades the quality of water and soil, but also renders them nutrient deficit and unfit to be used for crop cultivation. Consumption of crops cultivated in heavy metals polluted soil can lead to several health effects. We already know the health effects of a number of heavy metals, and a number of cases, number of disasters you might be knowing. A few to mention, for example, Minamata disaster in Japan was due to the mercury related compounds. Similarly, the Itaitai issue again in Japan was due to cadmium, and we know that lead, arsenic, zinc, etc. also have their health effects. Filtration, evaporation, precipitation of chemicals, anion cation exchange, reverse osmosis, oxidation or reduction, specialized membranes based techniques, and treatment by combined electrical and chemical means are some of the major techniques which are employed to remove the heavy metals from water and soil. But every technique is having its advantages and limitations. So, the scientists which are involved, or the engineers which are involved in these processes, they are interested in the development of new processes which are economically cheaper and environmentally safer. So, under this, scientists are of the view that bioremediation can be a technology that can effectively be used for the cleaning of heavy metal polluted sites, as well as for the cleaning of wastewater and heavy metal containing water, drinking water. In this figure, we have shown different sources of heavy metals in the environment. Heavy metals in the environment may be coming from the mining activities. The mining activities may include this smelting, river dredging, mine spoils and tailings, metal industries, etc. Similarly, there may be atmospheric deposition, there may be waste disposal, then agrochemicals, excessive use of fertilizer and pesticide may also result into deposition of heavy metals, because some of the pesticides contain heavy metals. Then industries, a number of industries use heavy metals, and all the heavy metals are not converted into product. Some of the heavy metal end up in the wastewater. Yes. Now, let me come to the bioremediation approach for the heavy metals. In case of organic compounds and in case of pesticides, we have learnt that microorganisms were capable to break the organic compound that ultimately resulted into either reducing their toxicity or their changes in their chemical properties. But in case of heavy metals cannot be further degraded, these cannot be broken down. So in this case, the mechanisms or the approaches will be totally different than the approaches which were used, or the mechanism which were involved in case of organic compounds. So the various mechanisms which are involved in the bioremediation of heavy metals, that include conversion of toxic heavy metals into less toxic forms. For example, chromium 6 is a toxic form that can be converted into chromium 3 or chromium 0 form. Similarly, the other heavy metals, particularly those heavy metals which exist in more than one oxidation state, over there this approach can be used. So this conversion from more toxic form to the lesser toxic form is called as biotransformation. Then absorption of heavy metal by the microbial cells, this technique can also be used, and this is called as biosorption. Lot of research in a number of laboratories all over the world is going on the biosorption approach. Then assimilation and accumulation of heavy metals inside the microbial cells, this approach is called as bioaccumulation and biomineralization. So we can say in nutshell, there are 3-4 approaches which can be used for the heavy metal remediation, bioremediation, and these approaches include biotransformation, biosorption, biomineralization and bioaccumulation. Now let me see bioremediation of heavy metals in little detail. Heavy metals can be absorbed by the microorganisms in 2 ways: by active bioabsorption, by active absorption, that is called as bioaccumulation, and by passive bioabsorption, that is called by passive adsorption, that is called as adsorption. The lipids, polysaccharides and proteins present in the microbial cell walls, they provide carboxylate, hydroxyl, amino and phosphate functional groups that can get attached with ions of heavy metals. If we compare the efficiencies of both biosorption and bioaccumulation processes, we can conclude that for broader application, the biosorption process is more efficient in comparison to the bioaccumulation process. Since for active uptake of the heavy metals, microbes would require nutrients which in turn would increase the oxygen demand, both biochemical and chemical oxygen demand in the wastewater. Microorganisms in the bioremediation process convert organic contaminant to certain byproducts like water, carbon dioxide, or to other intermediates that can be utilized by the microorganisms for their growth. Microorganisms can deploy certain mechanisms such as dissolving metals, oxidizing or reducing transition metals, transformation, volatilizing and immobilization of heavy metals, as well as bioleaching. Bioleaching, also called as biohydrometallurgy, this technique at present used particularly for the leaching of heavy metals from the low grade ores. This technique can be utilized for the removal of heavy metals from the contaminated systems. Microbes can bring into effect certain defense mechanisms like formation of outer cell membrane as a protective layer. The extracellular polymerase substances called as EPS present in the bacterial cell walls have been reported to show prominent actions on adsorption of heavy metals. EPS have been shown to be effective towards complexing heavy metals via exchange of hydrogen ions and metallic precipitation. Bioremediation research still need to make considerable effort toward exploration of genetics and genome characteristics of various microorganisms for adsorption of heavy metals, kinetic studies and their metabolisms. In the process of biosorption, a biosorbent must have high affinity for the sorbate. Here the sorbate is a heavy metal until equilibrium condition is reached between the biosorbent and sorbate. Microbes are also known to secrete some biosurfactants which form complexes and strong ionic bond interactions with metals. Later on, because of less interfacial tension, these formed complexes are dissolved from soil matrix to aqueous phase. The heavy metals cannot be destructed completely, but they can be converted into less hazardous form. As I told earlier, that chromium 6 can be converted into chromium 3 or chromium 0, or they can be converted into hydrophilic forms, or they can be precipitated or by the process of transformation. Heavy metals can be used by microorganisms as terminal electron acceptors. Detoxification process can also be used by microorganisms in which they reduce heavy metals and convert them into less hazardous form. This detoxification mechanism can be applied to eliminate heavy metals from the contaminated site. Now, let me come to the biological removal of heavy metals. Microorganisms can bioremediate heavy metals either by aerobic oxidation or anaerobic oxidation. The aerobic oxidation occurs in the presence of abundant oxygen. The aerobic reactions are catalyzed by various enzymes like hydroxylases, monooxygenases, dioxygenases and oxidative dehalogenases. Peroxidases and lignases enzymes generate chemically reactive oxygen atoms which perform aerobic conditions of heavy metals. Two conjunctive steps occur in anaerobic process. The activation reaction occur in the first step, and in second step anoxic acceptors of electrons carry out oxidative catabolism. The process of reducing the mobility of heavy metals collected from contaminated sites can be achieved by altering its chemistry and physiological nature is known as immobilization. Microbes use methylation, that is addition of methyl group, leaching, chelation and oxidation reduction transformation of hazardous metals to mobilize heavy metals from contaminated sites. Heavy metal resistance, the two major means by which bacteria can build up resistance mechanisms are detoxification and pumping out toxic metals from cell actively. In the detoxification process, toxic heavy metal state is transformed into less toxic form, which ultimately converts it into unavailable form. The simultaneous oxidation and reduction of heavy metal ions occurs in the soil with the help of microorganisms. In this redox reaction, heavy metals are oxidized by microorganisms, due to which heavy metals lose electrons. These released electrons are accepted by alternative acceptors of electrons such as ferric oxides, sulfates and nitrates. Microorganisms oxidize organic compounds having ferric or Mn4 and derive energy. If Fe3 is present abundantly, then there occurs a stimulation of anaerobic decomposition of organic contaminants. Biodegradation of chlorines occur via reductive decoloration, whereas electron acceptors are chlorinated solvents in respiration. The toxic metals develop stress that can be reduced by various defense mechanisms developed by microorganisms. These are formation of complex, formation of binding proteins and peptides, exclusion, and compartments formation, that is compartmentization. This compartmentalization is the distribution of the pollutant in different parts of the animal, of this microorganism. The accumulation of heavy metals by microbes could be understood through expressing proteins that bind to metal and peptide such as metallothionein, phytochelatins, etc. A SMTA gene expression as well as generating protein that binds to metal have been shown in cyanobacteria species. E. coli control the amount of accumulation of cadmium by expressing various proteins and peptides. The 10 times increase in phytochelatins occurs due to simultaneous expression of both precursor glutathione, that is GSH, and phytochelatins. This result in 2-time increase in cadmium accumulation. Metalloregulatory protein regulates the pathways of inherent resistance of heavy metals, for example arsenic, mercury, etc. inside microbes. Bacteria acquire the property of heavy metal chelation, thus eliminating heavy metals by secreting exopolysaccharides from the contaminated environment. Let me discuss some examples of microbial bioremediation. These examples have been taken from the available literature. Deinococcus geothermalis, a genetically engineered bacterium, has been reported to reduce mercury because of MER operon expression in E. coli, which codes for reduction of mercury. Another bacterium that has a resistance against mercury, that is Cupriavidus tellidurans, a MSR33 strain, was genetically altered through the introduction of PTP6 plasmid. The MERB and MERG genes were provided through this plasmid. The main function of these genes, that is MERB and MERG, was to regulate biodegradation of mercury. These genes simultaneously synthesize mercuric reductase and organomercurial lyase protein. Klebsiella pneumonia M420S bacteria degrade mercury by two different mechanisms. The first mechanism is mercury volatilization by reducing mercuric form to elemental mercury, that is mercury having zero oxidation state. The second mechanism is mercury precipitation, in which mercury precipitate out as a insoluble mercury due to the presence of volatile thiol, that is H2S. The plasmid, namely PMR68 with MER novel genes, were used to modify Pseudomonas strain to make it mercury resistant. So this kind of research is presently going on in different laboratories all over the world, so that bioremediation can be used effectively for the cleaning of heavy metal contaminated sites. Then heavy metal tolerance in plants, this is another mechanism, or this is another approach that can be used. Bioindicators are defined as those plants that possesses the potential to colonize in the environment having heavy metal concentrations of elevated concentrations of heavy metals, thus assimilate these heavy metals in their cells. These plants could be applied in the studies of phytoremediation in the contaminated soil laden from heavy metals. Biochemical changes are induced in plants due to heavy metal exposure. The plants, those are sensitive to heavy metal ions, there occurs an evasion of enzymes involved in photosynthetic reactions. In heavy metal resistant plants, responses consist of the induction of peroxidase and other enzymes involved in intermediate metabolism, stimulating tolerance to metallic stress. High assimilation of heavy metals in plants is an eco-physiological adaptation of the plants in heavy metal environments. To develop techniques in phytoremediation for soil contaminated with heavy metals, we can replicate the tolerance of plants to heavy metal contents. Metallothionein is a complex biochemical compound called metalloproteins. Metallothionein precipitates in the metabolic pathways of plants exposed to ions of heavy metals. These metal proteins are capable of making linkage with metals. Other proteins capable of making linkage with metals are used for the storage of metals as carriers and proteins integrated in the ionic form. High assimilation of heavy metals in plants is a ecophysiological adaptation of the plants in heavy metal environments. To develop techniques in phytoremediation for soil contaminated with heavy metals, we can replicate the tolerance of plants to high metal content. Metallothionein is a complex biochemical compound called metalloproteins, as we discussed earlier. Metallothioneins precipitate in the metabolic pathway of plants exposed to ions of heavy metals. These metal proteins are capable of making linkage with metals. Similarly, hyperaccumulator plants can be used for the cleaning of heavy metal contaminated sites. An elevated metal accumulation mechanism in plants without altering their metabolic mechanism has been studied in detail by various research groups across the globe. The most common mechanism is the release of a complex organic compound mixture through roots. The excreted substances contain compounds that are associated with metals like siderophores. The iron absorption by plant organs is associated with siderophores. There is possibility of changes in these compounds under bioavailability of metals by plants. Malic acid and citric acid are the two most reported organic acid to capture metals. Deloz and Rayan in 1995 reported that aluminum exposition in wheat causes malic acid secretion from radical apex, thus elevating resistance against metal. It was found by Larson et al. In 1998 that acids, particularly organic in nature, that were excluded from radical of Arabidopsis were resistant for aluminium. Lee et al. In 2000 explained the function of mucilase in protection of roots from aluminium in maize, that is maize crop, role of phytochelatins in physiological mechanisms of plant responses that were exposed to heavy metals with their capability to bind metals is also published by Loeffler in 1998, by Mehra et al. In 1996, by Roger in 1999, by Mattini et al. In 1996. What I want to say, a number of studies are going on hyperaccumulator plants. Then phytochelatins, that can be another mechanism to handle the heavy metals. The role of phytochelatins in plant growth was explained by Kinnersley in 1993. The chemistry of phytochelatins and related proteins was described by Rosserin in 1995. The phytochelatins has a low molecular weight. Cadmium, mercury, zinc, copper and lead can be accumulated, detoxified and metabolized by these phytochelatins. Phytochelatins are almost absent in animals. So, the chemical constituent of phytogelatin is a glutamyl cysteine, N-glycine, or we can say AGLU-cis N-gly, where N indicate 2 to 11 repetitive units, commonly 2 to 5 units are observed. The chemical constituent of phytogelatin is a glutamyl cysteine N-glycine, or AGLU-cis N-gly, where N indicates 2 to 11 repetitive units, commonly 2 to 5 units are observed. These compounds are classified in metallothionein class 3 and are synthesized enzymatically. Unlike metallothionein class 1 and class 2, those are genetically codified. In the Poaceae family, maize is a member of this Poaceae family, and in the order of Fable, example are bean family. These phytogelatins contain alanine, serine, or glutamic acid in its terminal end of glycine. This type of FQ is known as iso-PC. Phytogelatins can be induced by exposing autotrophic organisms, algae, monocotyledons, gymnosperms, and also many species of fungi to any heavy metal. Cadmium is a better activator, followed by bismuth, lead, silver, copper, zinc, gold, and mercury. It has been observed that the biosynthesis of phytogelatins proceed after metallic activation of an enzymatic constituent which utilize glutathione as substrate. Metallothioneins is another approach that can be used for the cleaning of heavy metal contaminated sites. Metallothioneins have low molecular weight and these are rich in cysteine. It constitutes the class of proteins and peptides associated with metals. The regulation of supply of essential nutrients such as copper and zinc is performed by metallothionein. They are also responsible for protecting cell against toxic effects of the elevated concentrations of heavy metals, for example mercury, lead, cadmium, zinc, copper, etc. The metallothioneins are classified into 3 categories. Category 1 contain all the metallothionein whose residues of cysteine are localized in position similar to that presented in corner metathionein and other mammiferous. Category 2 is protein metallothioneins which has no resemblance with the category 1. Category 3 metallothioneins are polypeptides, atypical compounds of glutamyl cysteine units. The drawback of this classification is that it does not determine the structural similarity. Therefore, a new classification has been proposed that will take into account the structural similarity with respect to the composition of amino acids, the length of the sequence of residues, positions of groups of cysteine and active sites, as well as phylogenetic relations. Now, let me discuss the role of chelates in phytoextraction. Lead and cadmium phytoextraction from a superficial soil by maize and mustard have been reported by Bricker et al. 2001. The citrate and EDTA were most feasible in promoting cadmium uptake by both maize and mustard. The heavy metals ion extraction from soils through plant is most effective in the chelate enhanced phytoremediation. Chelators are added into soil to increase uptake of metals with the help of known hypoaccumulator plants. If heavy metals are not actively uptaken by plants from the contaminated soil, then they can leach in the ground and can pose the risk of groundwater contamination. On the other hand, hyperaccumulator plants absorb, translocate the heavy metals through tonoplasts and assimilate these metals in the vacuoles. This leads to protecting selectivity from heavy metal toxicity. The two important determining factors responsible for developing phytoextraction techniques are appropriate selection of plant species and rhizosphere manipulation to accelerate metal uptake. Thalasspi, that is a plant of Brassicaceae family, a low biomass hyperaccumulator, and Amaranthus hybridis, a high biomass that is not accumulating heavy metals, were studied to find out the influence of ammonium sulfate and EDTA on the heavy metals assimilation into shoots. The findings of the study were that an application of 1 kilogram of EDTA increased considerably metal extractability with 1 molar ammonium sulfate, whereas if we are applying only ammonium sulfate, it would be effective. The application of EDTA enhanced the concentration of heavy metals in both of the plants. Heavy metal ions lability has increased largely in the soil treated with EDTA. Moreover, this ability remained for many weeks after the chelating agent was applied. Protective action of phytochelatins. The plant vacuoles is a chamber of transitory storage of peptides. In these plant vacuoles, peptides are dissociated, liberating. Therefore, the metal in the vacuole space, while the dissociated peptide is disintegrated. Through this means, the intracellular heavy metal gives protection to the enzymes sensitive to metals. Ortiz et al. In 1992 and 1995 find out the possibility to determine the presence of one gene, that is HMT1, in mutant stock of S. pombe. This HMT1 gene codifies one protein localized in the vacuolar membrane or tonoplast. The transportation of phytocelatin cadmium complex to the interiors of the vacuole is performed by HMT1 gene. Boselli, Lande and Wesner in 1990 studied the transport of phytochelatins up to the vacuole in the mesophyll cells of tobacco exposed to cadmium. So, still the research is going on the phytochelatins and their application to clean different sites from heavy metals. Similarly, all over the globe in different laboratories, research is going on the use of tissue culture for the cleaning of different sites contaminated with heavy metals. For this, I would like to give you a few references of the studies which have been conducted by different scientists. Somatic hybridization is a technique by which trait transfer from heavy metal hyperaccumulation is possible. It was demonstrated by Brewer et al. In 1999 that hybrids of the zinc hyperaccumulator Brassica napus was chosen for tolerance of zinc. They were then grown until flowering in zinc enriched soils. The accumulated levels of zinc and cadmium were toxic for Brassica napus. Chromium and nickel tolerance in Echinoclova colonna was developed by Samantha et al. In 2001 through callus culture and plant regeneration in both tolerant and non-tolerant callus. In comparison to the susceptible plant, the regenerated hybrid showed tolerance to heavy metals. In metal exclusion and metal uptake, several protein binding transporters played a significant or a crucial role. We have studied the application of different approaches for the cleaning of heavy metal contaminated sites as well as heavy metal contaminated water. But as we have discussed earlier, in case of this use of bioremediation for organic compounds and use of bioremediation for pesticides, here also the major limitations associated with the bioremediation of heavy metals include type of microorganisms, their nature and capabilities to tolerate heavy metals, optimization of environmental conditions and process parameters, that is a tedious job. The cost involved in bioremediation process is huge and the benefits are comparatively lesser. Application of bioremediation technology still require a lot of studies on exploring concept of genetics, gene regulation and characteristics of genome of various microorganisms applied in adsorption of heavy metals, their kinetics and metabolism. So, to summarize, in this module we have learned about that what are heavy metals and what are the sources of heavy metals and what are the effects of heavy metals. We have also learned about different methods, different bioremediation techniques that can be used or that can be applied for the remediation of heavy metal contaminated sites using microorganisms and plants. In addition to this, we have also discussed about different mechanisms which are involved in the removal of heavy metals from the contaminated sites and how the cleaning of heavy metal contaminated site is different from the cleaning of organic compounds contaminated sites. In addition to this, we have also learned a bit about phytochelatins and metallothioneins as well as about tissue culture technologies, and we have also learned that what kind of work at present is going on in different laboratories all over the world. I would suggest the students just to have a look on the literature and they should try to know that what kind of research is presently going on the bioremediation of heavy metal contaminated sites all over the globe in different laboratories. Thank you.